Hey, what is going on you guys? It's Epic here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, we've already done our top 5 things I don't want to see in Borderlands 4. You guys loved that video and left a ton of things in the comment section down below. Maybe I'm going to go over those in a future video, but for now, I am going to go over, as I promised, the top 5 things I do want to see in Borderlands 4. Before we get started, please make sure to leave your personal list in the comment section down below because I do read them, and also if you're not already subbed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. I'm not going to forget this time. I am going to mention that we just hit 60,000 subs, which is absolutely just incredible. I'm not going to say can we hit 65k next, I feel like that's so cliche, but the support has been incredible, so don't forget to sub if you're not already. And boys and girls, let's get right into my list. And so coming in at my number 5 spot, this is something which I debated adding to this list because I didn't know if it was serious enough, but I do think it warrants it, and that is better co-op. I need to see better online gameplay in Borderlands 4. But what do I mean by this, right? Like, I think a lot of you are going to be questioning me like, Epic, it's pretty fun co-op, but that's not what I mean. I'm not talking about how fun the game is co-op. I'm talking about the little things which interfere with the fun. For example, the online connectivity in co-op games can sometimes be really horrible, especially when there's a lot going on at once. If you played during Borderlands 3 with all the extra projectile stuff, you'll know that having a full game of players doing that was just an absolute nightmare for optimization and connectivity. And so this is something I would primarily like to see them really work on and improve. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's going to change at all, but I think the online connectivity is one of the biggest reasons I don't play co-op in Borderlands. And then let's get into the smaller things which I think really affect co-op, like for example visibility when teammates go down. I think needs to be improved. This was something I think was done very good in Borderlands 2, and then it just kind of slowly got worse and worse, and I think the worst we saw it was in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It was near impossible to know when someone went down. And additionally, I would like to see a host side setting for co-op games to make it so that you don't need to warn nearby players when you're fast traveling. When you're farming bosses, that 5-second countdown is just extremely annoying to see. I genuinely cannot stand it. And don't even get me started on people being in a menu when you try to fast travel. That is also a really big pet peeve of mine. And then the final one is of course parties getting disbanded when you are leaving co-op games to try and save quit farm things. Now, of course, with Borderlands potentially becoming open world or you know, just a larger world in general, it is possible they're going to improve upon this format, and there are ways to do it. We have done it and I have shown off how they can do it, so potentially this might not be a big issue. But yeah, better co-op for me is something I really would like to see in Borderlands 4, because I would like to play with viewers more, but it's just not enjoyable when the game doesn't run that well in co-op, at least in my experience. But that's going to be my number 5 pick, and now let's move on into my number 4 pick. So next on the list, what I would love to see in Borderlands 4 is an improvement on endgame by adding a boss rush activity. Now, the reason I say this is because a boss rush in the past never really got me all that excited. However, they did add one in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and I gotta say it was a ton of fun. Probably some of the most fun that game had to offer after launch, and it was, I think, a hit with everyone. I don't remember anyone being like, yeah, this isn't really fun. The boss rush was just overall really good. And you know, why stop there? Why not go to something like a raid boss rush as well? I know that Killer 6 had made an idea and pitched this idea in the past of like a Digistruct arena where Tyrus will Digistruct in raid bosses from prior games for us to fight. I think that would be incredible, and especially after seeing the announcement for like Elden Ring Night Rain with players fighting all these crazy wacky bosses, it just makes you wonder, you know, why can't we do something like that in Borderlands? Why can't we go into a Digistruct arena and fight Master G, and then maybe fight Cormorax, and then maybe fight one of the new raid bosses, and just go in that continuous loop with them getting harder and harder and harder each time? I think that would be really good, and for speedrun content and challenge content, that would give people so much replayability. So if they were going to add any endgame activity to Borderlands 4, that's probably what I would want to see. But it's not the only improvement I'd like to see at endgame, and that's where we're going to talk about my number 3 pick, which is an additional rarity or rarities above the legendary. I'm not going to get too deep into my Pearlescent argument because at this point I genuinely don't think pearls are going to return if they don't in Borderlands 4, but what I will bring up is that when I asked about pearls a long time ago, or rather I think it was K6 who asked about pearls a long time ago, Randy Pitchford said that the reason why they couldn't return in Borderlands 3 was due to hardware limitations. That is not the case. There could have been another Rarity in Borderlands 3, but regardless, that was then, this is now. They are dropping last gen support, and because of that, there is zero reason why we can't get a new Rarity above Legendary. Make it rare, make it powerful, make it do something unique, make it change up gameplay in a meaningful way. Maybe gear sets, right? Like, do something, but don't do nothing. I am so tired of having to point out that Borderlands was a game franchise which defined looter shooters. Borderlands 2, to say it was revolutionary would be the minimum thing that you could say about the game. It really did define looter shooters, but it's crazy that in the year we are in, Borderlands as a looter shooter is still lacking basic things like something above Legendary. It could be Seraphs, it could be Pearls, it could be Effervescence, it could be basically anything so long as it is good. It is rare, it drops from endgame activities, it doesn't drop like candy, and it's worth going after. This would be an instant hit in Borderlands 4. I will put my channel on the line that if they do a good Rarity above Legendary, it will pay off for them. People will like it, it will add something to do. And it's not just a case of me guessing, it's a case of me doing it. I've done this, right? I've done this, I've actively done this, and it has worked. People have loved it. We haven't heard a single complaint about the inclusion of them, and I really think we'll be missing a seriously good opportunity if it doesn't happen in Borderlands 4. Devs, I know you watch my videos, and that's why I'm talking directly to you here. Please don't fumble this. Give us something. And hey, if you doubt that what I'm saying is true, please read the comments of this video, because you're going to see a lot of people asking for the same thing. Now, moving on, let's talk about my number 2 pick, and this is going to be one for you challenge runners out there. I really, in Borderlands 4, would love to see a dedicated playthrough option for a one life mode. I want it to have exclusive rewards behind it, I want it to have an exclusive rule set behind it. I think the term with Pokemon games is like Nuzlocke runs. I don't know if that's true, someone let me know in the comments. I have literally no idea what that is, but I've heard it thrown around when talking about one lives. But I think the idea of one lives is fun, but the reason why I don't do them is because I want them to be in the game in an official capacity. Give me a crazy cool skin for completing it, you know? Give me the option to get a new gun dropped from a world drop if I beat one life mode. This is truly something I think would increase the replayability of the main story tenfold, and I really think we could even make some cool community events out of this as well. You know, maybe some certain prizes for doing it. I don't want to get too off track here, but I think a one life mode would be genuinely incredible for Borderlands 4, and there would be people raging that they can't complete it, but that's totally fine. A game for everyone is a game for no one, and I absolutely think it would be a good way to give the hardcore players something to do. I would greatly appreciate it. But now, moving in to my number 1 spot, this is going to be one that I don't think you're going to see coming, but I did want to give myself some unique items for this list so that this video isn't like something you've seen before, right? I want to give you some abstract, out of the blue suggestions, and this one is going to be what I think would be one of the largest quality of life improvements in Borderlands maybe ever, and this is a loot and enemy index. I think the inventory has room for expansion with player experience, and I think the overall user experience can be improved greatly by having a section that's basically a Pokédex. An area where when you kill a boss for the first time, let's say it's Mouthpiece, right? You kill Mouthpiece for the first time, you get a little notification that says, you know, new enemy added to index. You go over there and it shows you Mouthpiece. It shows a little description about Mouthpiece, notable attacks the boss has, and then it shows a little list to the side showing you potential drops. It doesn't name them, it doesn't tell you exactly what they are, but it is a vague little description like Malawan SMG, Torque Pistol, flat-off assault rifle, and then you instantly know that there is 3 drops that you can get from this boss that are going to be dedicated drops. I think this would make farming and figuring out stuff so much better, and I think it would be even cooler if they tied stuff like drop rates to it as well. If they told you the percentage for a drop, if they told you the rarity of the item you're going for, and this could be totally optional too. It could be something that you activate yourself through the options on the playthrough or the options in your pause menu. But either way, I really do think that some kind of loot or enemy index would be a huge addition to Borderlands 4, and I think, especially if you're a content creator, it would make making content even easier, to the point where if you're someone who doesn't watch content creators, you no longer have to, right? Like, you don't have to feel the need to go to YouTube to learn every little thing about the game if you're a new player. This would be a way to let casual players learn stuff easier, and experienced Borderlands players, like, you could plot routes for speedruns a lot easier too. You could take a look at this index and directly see where you need to go first, and it would also be great for the hunt as well. A community event that the community does, it would be good for the hunt as well, letting you know if you've obtained a certain item from a boss or not. I just think there's so much room for expansion here and room for improvement, and I don't know if it's going to be in Borderlands 4, I'm leaning towards most likely not, but it would be mighty cool and something I think would elevate the game. I really do think that. But boys, without a doubt, that's going to be the end of my list. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below, and additionally, please make your own list in the comment section down below. I'll be scrolling through and reading a bunch of those, and if you haven't already subbed to the channel, please do come along with us on the journey. If you want the #1 spot for Borderlands 4 news, it's gonna be here, so make sure you're subbed. I can't wait for Borderlands 4, and of course we're gonna be covering the hell out of it on the channel. So boys, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna jump out now, but I hope you enjoyed and have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.